We're going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, 7 p.m. here at the Star City Hall Chambers. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Can you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? That's a beautiful sound from up here, man. We've got so many people saying it. So nice job. Thank you. Tonight's invocation, Caden Botrobeck with Associate Minister of Calvary Chapel Star.
All right. How's everyone doing? Good. I'd just like to pray. But before I get into my prayer, I just want to read one quick scripture out of Psalm 24. It says, "The earth is the Lord's and all its fullness, the world and those who dwell therein. For he has founded it upon the seas and established it upon the waters." Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you for giving us this building, a place where we can all meet and gather. And Lord, may we just be reminded of that scripture right now, Lord, that all of this is all yours. Everyone's here for your doing, because you have brought us all here. Lord, the positions that we're in, Lord, you have put us in. So Lord, I ask anywhere from being a mother to a first responder, the mayor of the city, and the president of the United States, Lord, you've put us all here. And Lord, may we steward what you've given us with purpose. May we do it according to you and your will. Lord, have your way in this room right now. Father, may your Holy Spirit just go upon this building, upon the city of Star. And Lord, may we just humble ourselves before you this evening. Right now, Lord, just have your way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, roll call.
Day.
Here.
Wheelock.
Here.
Salmonson. Here. Nielsen.
Present.
Okay, everybody's here and present. All right, we are going to move on to our presentations. I believe we have Mr. Billy Roeder to talk about housing, affordability, doctoral study, and participation request, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is the microphone green right there? Yep. All right.
It's got to be close. So good afternoon. Thank you for the time tonight.
You might have to pull that microphone closer to you because we got people online.
Kind of afraid. Thank you again for allowing me some time tonight. A little introduction myself. I live out in Mount Home. I'm a 22-year Air Force vet. I'm the VP of our Planning and Zoning Committee out in Mount Home. And the reason I kind of got interested in studying, doing my PhD journey is the housing affordability out of Mount Home. I'm gonna give you some stats that you're probably aware of, but it might shock you. And the goal of this is to, I don't know if there is a solution because there's a state bill right now trying to make it more stringent for the city government rules and regulations of zoning. But the goal is to find a middle ground. So if I'm looking at Star, Mount Home, and Ammon, and looking at how they dealing with affordability crisis, and come back and give you a presentation and kind of give you some ideas and where you can benchmark or mitigate some things that they face that maybe you haven't faced yet. So the things I'm doing on the study, just kind of give you some data. The median home price, and this is from the data is coming from the U.S. Census American Community Survey. The median home price has increased by 170%, 165 in 2014 to 446 in 2024. In one single year in 2020 went 57%. So what's happening? I'm looking at both. It's a mixed study. So I'm looking at both data sets. I'm looking at your MCP, Master Comprehensive Plan, for all the cities. So for instance, you talk about affordability 122 times. Ammon talks about it 22 times. Mount Home talks about it 227 times. So it's slowly moving over that way. So affordability is going to be either we see it or it's going to be in our, you're dealing with it every day. And the problem is the median income in 2024 was 58,000. This is for Star, obviously. And the median home was 165. The median income in 2025 or 2024 is 97,000. And the median house is $564,000. So I know I'm throwing a lot of data, but basically the median income cannot afford the house right now in this city. So my study is looking at all the variables from the master comprehension plan, doing focus groups, doing interviews with stakeholders such as developers, city council, planning and zoning, residents, find out what they think they can do or what can be mitigated to alleviate the affordability or make it a little bit easier for the citizens. And like I said, the goal is once I get the data, this is the last city I'm doing data on. Once I get the data, I'm going to come back, God willing, be done in April. This has been a 5-year journey, and give you a presentation of what each city is doing. Again, you're not going to be able to solve it. Yeah, I don't think there's a magic wand going through the data from one city to the other that is going to say, yes, we can solve it. But can you mitigate it by using some ideals for Ammon, some ideals for Mount Home to what's the best way? And what I'm looking at is upzoning. So the study is called House Affordability Hits Home, a study of regulation changes and expected impact. So upzoning is PUD, basically planned urban development. So Mount Home, for instance, we have PUD. That's all we're doing is PUD. We're doing 5 to 6 houses per acre. When you go back and look at the data in the house cost, you would think more supply, the lower the cost. As you shake your head, you know exactly where I'm going. It's not happening. So what can be done to do that? And like I was talking to Shelley a little bit, State Bill down S-1279.
I was down testifying against that we stopped today, just so you're aware.
Oh, nice. Good. I need to talk to
Yes.
you about that because basically it's going to take the authority away from you as a city leader and make you regulate even more stringent for affordability. So once I get all this data in, I'm going to triangulate all the data, the quantitative and quantitative data, come up with some recommendations, bring it back to you. You may say, hey, Billy, that's a great idea. Or, hey, Billy, what do you got in your drink? That doesn't work for our city. But I want to give you some ideas. So maybe it may work because the thing with, when I talked to Ammon, they said that they don't have affordability problem. The medium home price right there is $500,000. So what happens, you pricing out the middle workers. So if you remember when you started out in life like I did, our first house cost $99,000. Second house was $250,000, and that scared the fool out of me. Our third house was $330,000, and that scared the fool out of me. But now you can't touch a house in Mount Home for under $400,000 that has any kind of amenities. So based on the income problem or the housing problem or the combination of both. So not to be labored, but that's kind of where the ideal is going to go, is trying to figure out how to put some puzzle pieces into it. So what my ask for you and ask from the citizens of the city is, I'd like to interview about 10 to 12 people, have different questions, and basically I'm going to see if they align and see if what you, basically the quantitative, you feel that the home affordability matches the data. Then come back, do the findings, do my recommendations, and see where it lays at, and hopefully give you some good data that you can work on in the future. It's not going to go away right now. Who do you think is the second unaffordable state in the union right now?
Well, you just gave us the answer.
I know. What's number one?
It doesn't take a doctorate for that.
No. Yeah, I'm from Arkansas, so it took a lot to get to this point. Yeah, I can say that I come from Arkansas. So, yeah. What state do you think is number one?
New York?
No. Montana.
Oh, yeah, right.
California is number 3. So we're leading California in something. So good or bad, it's going to happen. And the real reason I started this study, not just because I had an interest in being on P&Z board, but my son is not going to be able to afford a house. So I look at when I was coming up, you start out in life and you get your first house, you kind of move on. He can't even afford his first house. And he's an accountant and he's doing well. And it's like, if he can't make it, what about the average blue and white collar worker that's not in Idaho that can't make it? So
Sure.
That's kind of where my passion on this is at. I'm going to give Shelley my number. If do you have any questions on the study or what?
Well, I would just tell you that I was on the state's Affordable Housing Committee. I have a lot to share with you.
You're going to be my new best
Yeah.
friend.
There's a lot to it. It's not a simple
No,
solution.
it's not.
It's not about increasing density. There's a lot of things that have to happen in order to make housing affordable anymore in our communities. Idaho, our Star used to be considered the armpit of Ada County. And the first house I bought here back in the nineties was $97,000, right? The house that I got in 2017 was 292. Today, that house is 800,000. It's stupid, right? For those of us that grew up here. When you talk about kids, just today, my 22-year-old is looking to buy a house. Great credit, 65,000 a year as a 22-year-old. Qualifies for 350,000. You can't find that
No,
anymore.
and the.
It's ridiculous, right?
average house
And so those are things that I'm a wealth of knowledge and information on this. I've been in this for a year. So I would love to sit down and talk with you on this because there's a lot more to it than what you're hearing that caused those 3 bills to come out there that we're going to ram it down everybody's throat to throw 12 units to an acre out here.
Eh,
And that's ridiculous, right? Because that doesn't
doesn't solve it.
solve the affordability issue. It's market driven.
And it's, there's a lot of variables, interest rates, one of my recommendations, I grew up in the, in the military, so I had a VA loan. If, new home buyers, they have something like that to get them in, but then you have the Great Bust of 2028 or 2008 rather. So there's a lot of webs in this. It's just, I'm trying to triangulate what is ideal as city leaders and public administration because you for the better good. But you're right. It's like you can't regulate yourself out of this.
Nope.
And the problem that I'm seeing, and not to take too much time up, I'm passionate about this. The problem that I'm seeing, you have a lot of gentrification coming on because you have people that move from Mountain Home, for instance. I love Facebook Marketplace. Say that, come on, wife, listen. Guy just moved in from Seattle. It's where my son's at, making Seattle wage in Mountain Home. Sold his house for $900,000. Bought a house for $450,000. Yeah, this is cheap.
Yeah.
The same thing if I go to Arkansas, it's this cascading across the nation. So we have to figure it out as cities because you don't want the state to come down and dictate something from you. That's not going to be fun for anyone. So,
Mayor Chadwick.
Yes, sir, Councilman.
So thank you and congratulations on getting this far into your PhD. That's amazing. I don't know that I'm a wealth of information like the mayor is. He's definitely your best friend on this. I am curious though, because a lot of people ask, what can the government do? And certainly there are policies that we drive, but I'm really interested in your data set. If you could do some analysis and come back to us and help us understand what government controls price and market have in terms of an effect on affordability, whether that helps, to improve affordability or have a negative effect on that. And I'll just say there's a bias obviously to my question, and that is that I don't believe that governments should mess around with market and implement price controls. These are market-driven things that are taking place. You mentioned the guy making Seattle wages for a whole different market affecting this market. And this thing with R12, just being opened up, thankfully it got killed today. But that sort of thing, I don't believe is going to drive prices down. I think it's going to make a lot of people very rich as they create, 12 homes per acre and still sell them at $500,000 to $800,000 each. In fact, I'll just share, and this can be a data point for investigation perhaps. If that bill would have passed, I would have attempted, at least on this council, to drive the cost of those up in order to make it prohibitive. To build Class A R12 homes, you'd be paying $1.2 million. That's Massachusetts type things for them. So, the reverse regulation would have taken place in order to prevent that massive influx of density and traffic and things like that, just to protect our city. I would be in favor of driving the price up from a policy
the thing
level.
that I'm seeing just from, trying to keep unbiased in this, but a lot of people, Mount Home, we got more traffic. We're losing our core identity. It's coming a monolithic. You just see houses like, on TV just rolls and rolls and rolls. And another variable that we don't, I kind of thought about, I'm in 2.3% APR. So say I want to move. I'm not going to give up a 2.3 rate for 7%. So that's one of the variables I'm going to look at because for me to get out of that house to allow, like our first house, to allow another young couple to move in so I can move into kind of like my second house, if you were, the kind of the middle house. People are not moving because you're not going to give up that kind of rate. And you're right, when you put 7 to 10 to 12 houses per acre, I lived on military bases overseas where it's like you can reach out and touch your neighbor, and that's not fun.
No.
And there's a lot of things that,
And just to be clear, I'm not against that, but it's got to be planned.
yeah, it's got to be planned. It's got to
It
be,
can't just be carte blanche. Everybody with 4 acres and above can suddenly be R12.
Yeah.
So that's all. Thank you. And I look forward to your results.
Yeah.
other questions?
No. Any other questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Sorry if I overload y'all with too much data. That's the reason I didn't want to do PowerPoints because I'll get lost in the data with this. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on the 4B, Just Serve Commitment to Volunteerism Proclamation. Idaho, we have a Just Serve organization. Everybody get involved. We're trying to get people to volunteer for the America 250. I think it's 250,000 acts of kindness.
Hours of service.
Or hours of service. Well, we could get that in this room. And so we're going to do a proclamation. State of Idaho is the first state in the union that is a Just Serve state. I don't know, we're quite ways down the list on the cities. We're a little bit late to the game, but we're going to get it done. So we could be a Just Serve city. And I got Miss Addie McGrath back here, who's the City of Stars Just Serve a winner. And so I'm going to have her come up here in a minute. I'll have you come up in a minute. I'm going to read it first. Otherwise, everybody gets to look at you if you don't mind that. But, and then we'll sign it and I'll have the council go down there and we'll have the Just Serve folks and Miss Addie come up here and we'll do a picture. Is that cool? All right. All right. The proclamation, commitment to volunteerism in the City of Star. Whereas we firmly believe that the values of compassion, empathy, and community support are the foundation of a united and harmonious society, fostering connections that transcend differences. And whereas the strength and prosperity of our cities are based in the selflessness of its residents to serve and uplift one another. And whereas we acknowledge the profound impact that can be achieved when we extend a helping hand to our neighbors, especially those of diverse backgrounds, lifting them up and collectively working to improve lives. And whereas we nurture a culture of giving within our cities, emphasizing that volunteerism is not just a duty, but a source of personal fulfillment and community strength. And as we work side by side with and learn from each other, mutual understanding increases, misconceptions can be corrected, and new friendships are built. And whereas we urge all citizens to care for one another, volunteer, and engage in acts of service and kindness that contribute to our city's betterment and its inhabitants' well-being, regardless of background or belief. And whereas the City of Star has joined a growing list of supporters, including the state of Idaho, the National League of Cities, and hundreds of leaders to date in making commitment to volunteerism. Now therefore be it proclaimed, I, Trevor A. Chadwick, Mayor of the City of Star, commits to promote volunteerism, leveraging justserve.org to make it easier for residents to find and engage in volunteer opportunities, and will regularly acknowledge and celebrate the contributors of volunteers. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great sale of the City of Star to be affixed on February 17th, 2026. So thank you so much, everybody. Let's have the Just Serve folks and Miss Addie come up here and the council come down here. We'll do a picture with our proclamation, okay? And I encourage everybody to volunteer, man. We do a lot of volunteering in our community. We do a great job of it. So thank you so much for everybody that's part of it. All right. You want to tell us what you did? Hang on. We'll get you all
I was one of the first 15 kids in Idaho to receive over 25 hours of school service just in the school year. So I personally achieved over 40 since August.
Oh,
So I
good for
was-
you. Nice job. Well, that's her medallion right there. Here's our proclamation. Here, we can move this up. So we do a picture. All right. Can you get us all in here? Need different lens. Awesome. Well done. Thanks, Miss Andy. All right, we're going to move on to the police chief report.
Feel like this is really close. Mr. Mayor, City Council, I am Tim Haynes, the Chief of Star Police. I appreciate the opportunity to present the report for January.
Is that on? Green?
It is. Is that better?
That's better.
All
Yeah.
right, sorry. So I appreciate the opportunity to present the report for January. So if we go to the first category, it's 2026 year to date, easy. It's only 1 month so far, and we're at 34 crimes reported in the city of Star. In the next section, crimes reported by month and type, I would direct, do you mind going to the top? And direct everyone to the top right corner, where there's a legend that describes what crime types fit in each category. So we've got 13 person crimes, 4 property crimes, and 17 society crimes. I'd like to point out really quickly with the person crimes, one of those are 3 batteries that occurred in 1 arrest. So it's actually a more accurate number would be 10. We just have to count by the number of victims in each one. For police activity, we have 2476 proactive policing calls for versus 324 calls for service. That's a ratio of 7.6 to 1. So we're basically holding.
I'm going to scroll down, I think.
Last month. Oh, sorry about that. Select call types. So what we saw this month, which stood out to me, is a pretty big increase. It's 46 crash responses versus 30 last year. And then our location checks went down to 491 from 706, but we increased our traffic stops significantly. We got them up to 500 versus 377. In terms of our proactive policing model, I think that's a really good trade-off. The traffic stops are where we tend to detect the majority of our crimes in this city. Do you mind scrolling to the top, please? So for our number of arrests, 16. And of those 4 DUIs, one of those involves the person's crimes, the 3 persons crimes against the deputy when they had to extract someone from the car. She was not pleased with us. The percentage of our arrest, 13% involved drug charges. It's basically holding steady with last month. 122 total citations, which is a 16% increase over this time last month. 3 mental holds. And then I'd direct you to our code 3 response times that 4 minutes and 34 seconds, 4 minutes and 34 seconds for a response inside Star is an odd number. So I did a bunch of research, and what we found was that our average actual response time was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. However, there was 1 call at State and Star where we had a software and our recording system did not record us arriving until 12 minutes into the call. So I think, although that seems like a high number, it's not representative of the type of responses we had in Star for the month. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions or address any concerns.
Any questions for Chief?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So regarding the increased number of citations, is that mainly like traffic tickets or like speeding tickets or just curious?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Solmonson, it is, you saw the biggest increase right there in infractions. So that would indicate traffic violations.
Okay. Because I think we've had a few complaints that people, saying that more tickets need to be written. And so it seems like you're doing that.
We have certainly written more tickets, and we keep a board on the wall that lists every neighborhood we need to be working. And as we work those neighborhoods, the deputies notate, this is when we worked it, this is what we've got, this is it.
Mhm.
So we are doing what we can to stay on top of the problem areas in the city.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we got Team Luna back there in the back, our K9. I don't think Luna's in here. Oh, she had training today. So they did a good job on the drug stuff here in the city of Star.
Thank you.
So awesome. Anything else for Chief?
Thank
All
you.
right, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll move on to our consent agenda.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman,
I'll move to approve consent agenda consisting of 5A, the approval of claims, 5B, approval of minutes for January 20th, 2026, 5C, Colt Heights subdivision final plat, 5D, Colt Heights subdivision time extension, 5E, Star Point 2 subdivision final plat, 5F, Dayspring Church annexation and zoning, findings of fact, conclusions of law, with one addition that a condition be added for ADA parking compliance. 5G, Sean Sundwall annexation and zoning, findings of fact, conclusion of law. 5H, Stargazer subdivision, vacation of easement. 5I, Sol Invictus Vineyard, alcohol license. 5J, confirmation of appointment of Julie Corley to the Historic Committee.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Solomon and a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Day,
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. All right, we're on to the items I think everybody's here for today. Item 6A is actually going to be tabled till March 3rd. It's our City of Star Capital Improvement Plan and Development Impact Fees for Parks, Pathways, and Police. We did originally table this from January 20th. We worked with some of our stakeholders and are making some adjustments, and that'll be coming out, I think, later this week, right, Shelley? That's the plan? Yeah. So we're going to hear this on March 3rd. So I need to make a motion to table it to March.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilwoman,
I move to table this capital improvement plan to March 3rd, 2026.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is that Dave? Goodness. We have a motion by Councilwoman Solomon and a second by Councilman Day. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Nielsen,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Day.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you. That'll be heard on March 3rd, same place at 7 p.m. Okay, we're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our new Middleton School District Elementary School, CUP. I just want to make certain that everybody is aware of the process here tonight. If you wanted to speak, you need to sign up on any of these public hearings. You need to sign up on the sheets that are out back there in the hallway. I will open the public hearing and I'm going to ask the council if they have any ex parte contact or communication. Sean over here, our staff, will present the application. Then the applicant has up to 20 minutes to present their project.
Mayor Chadwick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking.
No,
And
no,
then you went on.
no, sorry.
My bad.
And then the applicant has 20 minutes to present their project. The council can ask the applicant and staff questions during that time frame. Then we're going to get into public testimony, which is 3 minutes per person. That clock right there on the wall is our timer. Ryan will set that timer for each individual person, including the applicant. The council may ask the individual speaking follow-up questions that does not count towards their 3 minutes. Then the applicant has a 10-minute rebuttal. The council will then ask the applicant and staff questions. I will close the public hearing. The council is going to deliberate, and either a motion is going to be made to approve of conditions, deny, or table application to a date certain in the future. Only the person that's up here at the podium has the floor to speak. No noise or anything out in the crowd. You keep it orderly conduct out here. And then when you're up here, if you're a citizen and want to ask the applicant questions, just ask the question to us and they'll write it down and they'll respond back to it in the rebuttals. Okay? Don't turn around and ask them questions or anything. Just direct it all here to the council and myself. All right? With that said, it is 7:29. I am going to open the public hearing and ask the council if they have any ex parte contact or communication relating to the Middleton School CUP.
Go for it now. No.
No. Mayor
No.
Chadwick.
You have one? Did you say no?
I said, I asked to be recognized.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so just real quick, prior to the meeting here tonight, conversation with a couple of individuals who I believe are going to testify tonight, shared some information about what they thought about and some of the concerns they had about this application. just related to screening and privacy. So I just was present for that conversation.
All right. All right. You got that noted, Ms. Shelley? Okay, all right. Sean, the floor is yours.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. Your first public hearing tonight is the Middleton School District new elementary school conditional use permit. Applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for a public educational institution. Property is located on Kingsbury Road, north of Highway 44 in the Terramore subdivision. First phase. School property is 11.35 acres in size and will sit on a future lot within that first phase of Terramore subdivision. Current zoning on the property is R-3-PUD-DA. Conditional use permit includes proposed phasing of the project with approximately 39,000 square feet of building area in the first phase, approximately 28,500 square feet in the future phase. The application has been submitted and meets the requirements for agency transmittal, legal noticing, site posting, all in compliance with the Unified Development Code. Application has also been reviewed for compliance with your Unified Development Code and the City Comprehensive Plan. You do not have any late exhibits. There are no outstanding issues from staff's perspective, and staff is recommending approval of the application with the conditions of approval that are outlined in the staff report. Again, for location, again, it's on the north side of State Street or State Highway 44 on the east side of Kingsbury Road. It's the site plan that was provided by the applicant and elevations provided by the applicant, which I'm sure they'll get into more detail in their presentation. Thank you.
Any questions of staff?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilman Wheelock.
So Sean, that 39,000 square feet, does that include what they're looking at as approving a second or future building? Is that all part of the same approval?
They're requesting approval for the entire development this time. That first phase will be that square footage that I listed. 39,000 square feet. That's the first part of the building. And then they'll have an additional 28,500 square feet. I'm sure that the applicant will go into more detail for you on that.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions of staff? Okay, hearing none, is Miss Amber, are you presenting tonight? Okay. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot to tell everybody, you also need to make sure you state your name and address up here at the podium when you come up to speak. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Amber Van Oker, LKV Architects. My office address is 2400 East River Walk in Boise, 83706. Thank you for letting us present to you this evening. I've got members of the design team here, members of the school district. Mark Gee, the superintendent, is also here. So we'll kind of go through our presentation. Thank you, Sean, for outlining everything. And any questions that I cannot answer, I'll bring up members of either the design team and the construction team or members of the school district to address. If I can work this. No.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Get into presentation mode, Sean. If you go into presentation mode, then she can do that.
This is our first time doing a public hearing, by the way, so let's give us a minute.
You can just go to.
Yeah, it might be in the window menu. It's one of those. Could also be down there at the bottom to the right of 1 of 8. There's a little play button. Go to the left. Yeah.
That's right. He can just advance it forward. Hit that
Sean.
arrow right there. There you go.
Sean, just hit Control Enter.
Well, I can get started. So, as Sean outlined, the property is here. We have only one road connection onto Kingsbury. Carrera will be a new collector that gets installed with the Terramore subdivision. Our primary access onto the site for most vehicular traffic is going to be occurring off of Carrera. We have been able to obtain approval from the Highway District that this will be a controlled access point for buses and faculty only. There'll be a gate that will actually be at that location, so it'll only be opened in the morning and then closed in the afternoon, and then opened again once buses are there to pick up in the afternoon. This is the first phase. So this is the 39. Oh, you're messing with me, Sean. There we go. So this is the 39,000 square feet. Eventually, there will be a second phase of adding on to this facility. That is not what we're asking for approval of at this time. We realize we will be having to come back and probably have that discussion. But so this 39,000 square feet, we do want the council to approve the entire site plan, almost more as a master plan layout. This addition won't change when the next phase comes into play. So the main entry is on the south. We've got a secondary entry off of that western side that will go right into a gymnasium space. All athletic play fields will be on that eastern side. We do have some connections that will be pathway connections to the subdivision. Emergency vehicle access, there will be a complete pathway for emergency vehicles around the site. And then the interior courtyard area is also being developed for play. So by zoning, we were only required to have 81 parking spaces on site, but we do understand that there's a reality with parking when it comes to our public school facilities. So we have developed this site with 244 parking spaces, which for an elementary school, we think is definitely adequate. I would almost make the argument maybe it's a little excessive, but the one thing we do not want to have happen is Carrera will be controlled. There will be no parking allowed upon Carrera, and of course, Kingsbury. Also, we would not want to have any street side parking. I know that there's probably going to be testimony about traffic. Obviously, the entire Terramore subdivision went through a very elaborate traffic analysis and study. The school site is part of their first phase of their subdivision. And before the school can open, before the subdivision can have approval for what is called final plat, which that's the point where homes can actually be sold or lots be sold. The signalization has to occur at Kingsbury and Highway 44. So that has to be operational before the Middleton School District can open this facility. And it has to be operational before the Terramore subdivision can start selling any of their lots. So we can talk more about that if there's additional questions. Maybe the next slide. So just to give everybody a little idea of the floor plan, because of funding, obviously, we're not able to build this entire facility. Some of you may have seen this design prior to the bond election. The only thing that's really changed is that this is the gymnasium. It used to be there. We've had to modify because just from a funding budgetary perspective, we cannot afford to build a complete independent gymnasium and an independent cafeteria. So this will be functioning as both. It still has a regulation court, so everyone's going to enjoy that. But it will also be where these students, which right now, the enrollment probably will be anywhere from 350 to 400 students, depending on, how tight Mark wants to have these students be in these classrooms. So that it's that 350 to 400 student range. They will be eating in the gym. When the next phase happens, then we'll rotate the kitchen space, and then this will be the gym. Admin area, all classroom wings, classroom component. We've got a media center or library, art room, and then support space. So, we're very grateful that we're able to build what we can build at this phase. And then in the years to come, hopefully the rest of this facility will be built out. That next slide. From an architecture perspective and our materials, this building is primarily going to be masonry. We do have some accent points where this will be a metal siding feature to kind of bring some color into the overall architecture, but it's going to be very durable. It'll be economical, but it still is going to be a very attractive building. It's a low slope parapet roof. So what you're seeing here, this height is at 30 feet. This is at 20. Behind that is parapets, and then we have a low slope membrane roofing system, which is a very efficient way to construct educational facilities. Maybe the next one, Sean. Oh, how about those renderings? Can you get to those? Oh, there we go. So don't get hung up on the name. That's just us taking some artistic license. The district will be going through a naming of this facility, but this would be the main entry, again, showing the masonry, showing metal siding. You can kind of flip through these next ones. This is a feature that we're having off of the gymnasium. So the idea is that the bus drop-off area is out here. The students will be able to enter in early in the mornings and be in that gym facility. And then this is the courtyard. So each classroom actually has access to this courtyard. We found that that's a good solution, not only for active play for the students, but it's efficient for a number of safety reasons. Anything you want to add, Sean? No? Good. We've read through the staff report. We have no issues with the conditions of approval. We're here to ask for your approval, and I'll stand for any questions that you may have.
Any questions for Ms. Amber at this time or team? No? You guys, Steve, do you have Councilman Day? You'll have another shot at it, but. Oh, Councilman Nielsen?
No questions at this time.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Amber, do you have
Mr. Mayor,
issues?
Mr. Mayor, one thing that staff, based on one of Amber's comments, staff would recommend that when you look at this, you're going to be approving the land use. So you will approve this conditional use permit. So we'll place a condition, or we'll recommend placing a condition that the second phase will come through the design review and zoning certificate process. So we don't have to go through another public hearing, because again, tonight you're approving the land use, which is the school itself.
Okay,
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I'll just state for the record that we might be approving it.
That's staff's recommendation. Yep.
Right.
Yes.
No, he just spoke very optimistically that we are approving it.
If you do approve this, that's the
we
recommendation.
might be approving it. I'll just point out, there is one thing in our comprehensive plan, and I don't know that you'll need to address it, because I just want to point it out and maybe address it as well. But our comprehensive plan calls for schools to not be located near major highways and arterial roads. And obviously, Highway 44 is a major highway, and Kingsbury is designated to become a collector or arterial, I can't remember which. But I believe that it's mitigated through that Carrera Drive and some other things that this plan has put in place to direct traffic, great walkability, safe paths to school, and things like that. So if there's anything else you want to add that to help kind of inform the public on that particular thing.
Well, let me add this though too, that we approved this school location through the preliminary plat of the Terramore subdivision. So at that time, we knew it full and well that this was going to be a school site. So I think at that time, we remedied that.
Yeah, I think so, because it's part of that master plan community. That's my point in bringing it up, is that even though our comp plan calls that out, I believe that we have mitigated that and provided adequately for it.
Okay. Did you want to add anything, Miss Amber, to that?
Not
Okay.
there.
All right. All right. Thank you. Do you have the sheets? All right. Thank you. Okay, we'll start with Kenny Littlefield. Go ahead, sir. Just go up here and state your name and address for the record. And remember, the timer is up there.
Kenny Littlefield.
Pull that microphone closer to you because you speak really softly. So we'll make sure.
My name is Kenny Littlefield.
There you go.
And address is 22752 Kingsbury Road. And we're on the south side where they're building that secondary.
Can you go back to the master sheet there for us? There we go. Okay.
Where they said they was going to put the gate and stuff in. I was kind of curious if you guys going to put a privacy fence along there because we do have logging trucks come in, and we don't want to have the kids over there running around with logging by the logs and stuff.
You're talking right here, Kenny?
Nope.
Up here?
Along that north side of that road there. That's we do have logging trucks come in every once in a while. We do have full length logs in there, and we do have live water. What you guys gonna do with us when we have to bring water down to irrigate our yard when this all starts? When you guys tear all that up?
Okay. We'll have them answer that when they come back up
Okay.
for you. Okay? Because we can't answer that for certain.
That's it.
Any questions for Mr. Kenny?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Oh, do you have a question?
Yeah, Mayor Chadwick, Mr. Kenny. So do you go on this property currently to get onto your site?
The property to the north,
Yeah.
where the square dot is that's me and my brother's property. And that's why I was kind of curious about the privacy fence and the water rights. And or we can at least get our water to us when we irrigate the yard and stuff. And a drain for the excess water to get off the place.
So excess water from your property onto someone else's?
Or right there. That's where that piece of property right where we got the pointer at is mine and my brother's property. And we do have logs and stuff coming in, and we do irrigate that 2.33 acres. And we just need, and our pipe comes right along where the school boundary is behind the property up to the center ditch. That's how we bring our water in. And when you guys redo that, is there a way we can have water, then pipe a new line into us? And on that south side of our property, we do have mice get into that section where it floods over every once in a while. We got to keep an eye on that. If there's a way we can keep make it where our water stays on our property. And that's what we're kind of concerned too.
We'll have Miss Amber address that when she comes up, though. Those are good
Okay.
questions right
Yeah,
there
thank you.
on that. Yeah.
So basically you're looking to just have that piped as opposed to in an open concrete ditch, so doesn't have,
No, they, at one time, they was saying we were going to tile it down to us. So, when we go up to the head gate to bring the water in, and it's all open concrete ditch. To bring it down till past 3/4 of a mile to our place to get the water into on the property.
And then you have runoff that goes south now?
It goes, we got a 8-inch pipe run along our, property line into a drain right in front of our property. Drains the excess water off the property, or we don't run, everybody, water all over the place, especially when they was having crops and stuff in the fields. But we just try to keep everything contained into that, 2 3/4 acres.
Yeah, so it has a drain that keeps it running south,
No,
Or
north,
north,
west.
west. It goes under Kingsbury.
It goes underneath Kingsbury. It runs right along our chain link fence on the south side of the house, out to underneath the pipe underneath, Kingsbury.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Kevin Littlefield. He spoke for you? Oh, perfect. Thank you. Is it Michael Galloway? Michael or Michael? Michael. I didn't get it right. Sorry.
Neither were you.
I wasn't sure.
My name is Michael Galloway, 8425 Spring Creek Way in Middleton. I just needed a quick clarification. She said there's going to be a light at Kingsbury when the first house, it has to be up before the first house is occupied. It looks to me like the school is going to be built before any house is built. So are we talking years, months, whatever? How long is it going to take to get a light at Kingsbury?
Okay,
That's my question.
we may have to get back to you on that because I don't have an answer. Do you have an answer?
Yes, so the highway district requires the signal to be operational before before the school can open.
That's the answer I wanted. Thank you.
I guess there's your answer. Thank you. Miss Patricia Crawford? Okay, very good. Thank you. And then Joseph Ariente, did you want to speak? No comment? Okay, very good. All right, Miss Amber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. We have spoken to the brothers already and are aware of their concerns. So the entire Terramore subdivision is going to be going under a pressurized irrigation system. And part of it is the lateral that is feeding their property. So those designs have not started to happen yet. And we know that we're working in conjunction with the Terramore engineers on that. So, and we've already spoken that we'll be going out and meeting with them on site. Their issue is that they've got a relatively shallow ditch that does overflow its banks at times. And so we need to make sure that we're allowing for that or piping it. Those decisions haven't really been made yet, and we need to work through that with them. As far as screening of that northern of their parcel, the district is agreeable to that, and we're going to have fencing that will obviously take place all the way around the perimeter. We won't fence along Carrera, but we'll fence all the rest of the perimeter. But they have requested along their property line that not only is it fenced, but it's screened. So we'll come up with the appropriate type of fencing that, you know, will make sure that kids aren't sticking their hands through the fence or anything like that. I think we've answered the questions as far as, you know, the subdivision is through a preliminary plat approval right now. Final plat in this first phase will require that lit intersection at Kingsbury and 44. We've been told, and you know, we're not working for Terramore. They have their own set of engineers, but they are actively in their processes. I've already seen the first run of the design for all of their road improvements. So they're moving as quickly as they possibly can. And they obviously understand that traffic signalization, you know, is imperative to the opening of the school. We're just as an overall schedule, we're shooting hopefully to be able to, if everything is approved through this body, you know, we would like to be able to be under construction this summer or towards the end of the summer. And then we'll go through a year of construction. So that's kind of our schedule that we're on.
Okay. Any questions for Miss Amber at this time?
Yeah, I just have a couple, since we're talking about the fencing. Are you looking at a 6-foot, 8-foot chain link fence? Is that a City of Star question? What's allowed? I'm curious what fills that appropriate question, right?
Yes. Sean could probably address that too, about what's allowed.
Yeah, our code typically does not allow chain link, but I don't think we've seen what they've proposed. They're not proposing anything yet.
Yeah, so the subdivision has been conditioned for making sure that all of the fencing around the subdivision is uniform. We'll have to work with that developer and make sure that we're able to do what we need to do on site. Unfortunately, if the decision by Terramore is that it's a wrought iron fence of some sort, oftentimes we will put a chain link fence on the school district property side just because it's not as secure. We're not through that yet. We're not through those processes, but we are bound by the approvals that this body has already put on Terramore as far as the appearance of that fence.
Okay.
It's a terrible answer. I didn't really answer it.
Yeah,
I don't know yet.
was
How's that?
looking for any kind of hint.
I guess the answer would be they still have to figure that out on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
It's got to be screen fence too.
Screen fence that's not vinyl, or it doesn't sound like.
We would really not ever want to put a vinyl fence
I've
on
never
a
seen a
school site.
farm love vinyl
Yeah.
fence. They burn really good. But so I was like, chain link with slats, what's that look like? I was just curious. Wrought iron with, how do you privacy your wrought iron fence?
Right, exactly. So we've got some work to do with the developer on how we're going to satisfy their requirements, because their fencing all has to be uniform throughout their whole subdivision. So, you know, they're going to push us to try to do, you know, something that's uniform with them. And we may be able to come up with a good design that we can do that. We just haven't started those conversations with that, but that is conditioned on them. And by virtue of the fact that the school site is part of their condition, it's somewhat conditioned upon us.
And as far as the irrigation, you'll make sure during irrigation season, they have their water 100%?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, Sean Connor's here with the land group, and he can probably speak a little bit more articulately about that.
You thought you were getting away with not speaking today.
I tried. Sean Connor, the Land Group. Address is 462 East Shore Drive, Eagle, 836-3616. Speaking directly to the gravity irrigation on the north boundary, Terramore is delivering it in their preliminary designs up into basically that eastern boundary. From there, we will have to continue it and convey it through our parcel in a tile mechanism. So we will tile it up to the parcel owner to the north. At that point, we'll have to make some kind of embankment improvements to make sure that flood irrigating doesn't impede back on the school district side. So that will be part of it. There's state statute. We have to continue the flow immediately. We cannot impede that at any season. So that construction will have to happen this coming winter, not this 2026, but 2026, 27 off season. So.
Yeah, I'm aware of the law. I just wanted to hear it so that it's out in the public again, I guess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen?
So I'm not clear on this conversation on the chain link fence because I heard us, and I'm aware that our code does not allow it. But then it sounded like the applicant may install it, and then it sounded like we're asking how they're going to install it. So can I get some clarification on, are we discussing chain link fence or are we following our code?
Okay. Amber? I don't think that's engineer water guy, is it?
Sorry, actually, the landscape
Oh, you're a landscape guy. Okay, you can answer it too.
Rich Chadwick, council members. So Terramore does have an approved fencing plan that we have to adhere to. So that fence will be as part of their development along basically anything to the east side of our parcel. Anything on the other side of it, it will be kind of up to us to kind of align with Terramore. The school district typically does desire to do chain link when they can, just because kids are so hard on vinyl fences or wrought iron. But we definitely know to the northern parcels that we have to do some kind of visual screening. So whether that's a wrought iron with some plant material or if it's just some solid fencing material, at this time we do not know what that is.
So is the applicant asking for a waiver to be able to build chain link fence or no?
Mr. Mayor, Council, I just looked it up. We do allow the chain link for schools. So we can work with them on the exact color and style and everything. But yes, it is allowed for schools.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good question.
Yep. Any further questions of the applicant?
Mayor
Yes, ma'am.
Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
Sorry. So regarding the lighting and kind of protecting the neighbors in the future that aren't yet there yet, do you have a plan for lighting? And would you share to or care to share that?
Yes, council member. So the parking lot will be lit. You know, we typically what we'll do, and I think there are requirements through the city when we submit our documents that all of those, any traffic lights have to actually be shielded so that they don't spill over into neighboring properties. So we do go through a photometric design on that to make sure that we're adhering to not only the regulations that the city has for required lighting in parking lots, but that that light isn't spilling over into neighboring properties.
Okay. So Sean, this would be a question for you. I didn't notice that in in the standard conditions of approval, the lighting specific item. So would we need to add that here tonight if we approve it, or is that part of the design?
Yeah, staff would recommend that, staff would recommend that we put a requirement that the applicant supply a fencing plan and a lighting plan prior to building permit.
Is it? I didn't see. Did you see a number?
Okay.
Sorry.
Other questions?
Yeah, clarification. Sean, did you say that is part of the staff report or you're saying we should do that here tonight?
If it's not part of the staff report, I think we should add it as a condition of approval. I'm afraid to click anything on here because
Yeah, I didn't see it in there.
We'll just make it a condition of the approval and we're good.
staff will make sure it's in there one way or the other.
Thank you.
Councilman Day?
I think.
Mr. Mayor.
So,
I hate to beat this fence thing to death, but what's it going to look like along 44 on the south side as far as your fencing?
Well, we're not on 44. So 40,
Well,
the highway's
well, I mean,
down
on
here.
the south side of the school.
Carrera's here. We will not fence the frontage. The frontage of the property will not be fenced. So the southern boundary, we will not fence. We might wrap the fence a little bit here, but we never,
So there's
we-
no barrier
we
there.
do not encourage the idea of fencing the front
Mhm.
because it just doesn't have good street appeal.
Yeah. It's a good answer.
Good answer, is that what you said?
Good answer.
Okay, good. You liked your answer. All right, any further questions of the applicant? Questions of staff? Councilman, anybody? All right. If we hear nothing else, thank you, Ms. Amber. It is 8:04. I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll go to council deliberations. Councilman Nielsen.
are you calling me out and getting us
I
started?
thought you were
for us?
hitting your thing, so I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sure. I'll go ahead and start.
Okay.
So, based on the testimony here tonight and the applicant presentation, staff report, I really looking at this as a use that's consistent with the master plan that we already approved. I think they've come back showing a good plan and how that fits in and addresses some of the some of the concerns. I appreciate the conversation over fencing and dark sky initiatives and things like that tonight. So really, I'm looking at, adding that provision for making sure that we've got a fencing and a parking lighting plan, exterior lighting plan submitted, and, finding support for that.
Okay. Any further comments? Councilman Day, did you have any comments? You don't have to. I'm just-
No, as far as making sure that the two gentlemen, their issues are addressed as well, that be part of the conditions as well.
Sean?
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to get with the gentleman after the meeting to make sure we have their contact information and get them in contact with the developer regarding irrigation and water.
Okay.
So Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen.
I'll go ahead and move to approve the conditional use permit CU 26-01 for the Middleton School District Elementary School, located at 7550 Highway 44, subject to the applicable provisions of the Unified Development Code and the following conditions of approval. That the applicant provides a fencing and exterior lighting plan for staff to review against our guidelines and codes. That the applicant, as they agreed to in this hearing tonight, will work with the Littlefield family to ensure their irrigation and water delivery rights or water rights are delivered appropriately according to the law, and provide for a screened type fence along that property.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
We have a motion by Councilman Nielsen, a second by Councilman Wheelock. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Nielsen,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Day.
Motion carries. Welcome to Star. I just want to say, I want to commend Dr. Gee and his staff, because I don't know if everybody's aware, but this is not being paid for with property tax dollars. Right? This is the second school in Star, the only two schools in the state of Idaho not being paid with property tax dollars. He did a great job of going out there and figuring out how to get this done when he had such a hard time getting the community to pass a bond. So well done on your staff, and welcome to Star. Yep. All right. We'll move on to item C, the Scenic View Subdivision Preliminary Plat and Private Street. It is 8:07 or 8:08, we'll say, and we're going to open the public hearing. I'm going to ask the council if they have any ex parte contact or communication regarding this project.
None.
None.
Hearing none.
None.
Sean, the
No.
floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next application you have before you for a public hearing is the Scenic View Subdivision Preliminary Plat and Private Street. The applicant is requesting approval of the private street and preliminary plat. Property is located on Scenic View Drive north, at the north end of Wing Road. Property being developed is 9.4 acres in size. The preliminary plat includes 10 residential lots and 1 common lot. There's a request for a private street and a gate. Property is currently annexed and zoned into the city with an R1 and an R3. Excuse me, that should be R2. R1 and R2 zoning designation. The proposed density for the development is 1 dwelling unit per acre. The application requirements, including submittal requirements, agency transmittals, legal noticing, and site posting, have all been met per the UDC code requirements. Staff's also reviewed the application for compliance with the zoning code and the city comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan land use designation for this property is estate rural residential and estate urban residential. You do not have any late exhibits in front of you. Special items for consideration would be the gated private street, open space waiver, sidewalk waiver, block length waiver, and vacation of existing utility easements. Staff is recommending approval of this application with conditions of approval outlined in your staff report.
All right, very good. Do you have any questions of staff before we bring the applicant up? Okay, all right, we could have the applicant come up and present, please.
Dennis Jordan, 1001 North Rosario Street, Meridian, 83642.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry, Jordan.
You're good. Appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Mayor, council, staff, for working through this with us to this point. We're excited to share this proposed subdivision with you here tonight.
This is our second hearing, so hang on a second.
Hey, we're working through the bumps. It'd be a PowerPoint on the desktop there. Right.
The awkward silence moment here, right?
Oh, that's
Can you get that in the screen mode or?
Sean, do you want the flash drive again? That help?
Did you say it was a,
Oh, yeah, we need scenic view. That's caliber
There's a
code.
PowerPoint on the desktop.
sorry, I've got the wrong one here. Ready to do too many things at one time. There you go.
There it is.
All right.
All right. Again, thank you for this opportunity to present this project to you. As was mentioned by staff, the site is 9.4 acres, 10 single-family lots that's already been annexed and zoned. Zoning R1 and R3 within this site. We're proposing 10 residential lots with one common lot. So tonight we're seeking that preliminary plat approval. Some context to this site will have an internal private road to service the lots. Existing license agreement with Farmers Union Canal to have that crossing midway through with the Farmers Union ditch, and have discussed this at length with the fire department. City utilities are serviced from Scenic View Drive on the south of the project and will be able to be routed up through the subdivision. So with this, the vision and goal behind this is to provide a more rural type of development within the city of Star, to provide access to homes that are going to have a little bit more acreage and still have it be in proximity to the rest of the amenities that come with the city of Star. So we want that low density transition and to utilize the site's natural topography, allowing those views to look out over the valley below for those homes there. We want to continue to preserve the natural beauty of the site with areas that have steeper slopes that will remain untouched in accordance with staff recommendations. So the intent, again, is to deliver larger functional home sites with this area here and to build a small, cohesive community where people can enjoy the benefits that come with living in Star. So some highlights, as you can see here, we have some of the site acreages listed with the proposed lots. There are areas exceeding 25%, will be shown as no build areas on the final plat. That will be indicated that way. We are requesting a sidewalk waiver as allowed in the Unified Development Code to maintain that rural feel along the road. So it will be asphalt without attached sidewalks in that sense. We will provide 4 streetlights throughout and we'll ensure that we meet the dark sky requirements for that. With this lot layout, as was mentioned in staff report, right, there's many unique things about this site with the terrain, the steepness, and the proposed road layout that is fairly fixed within certain areas of the site. We do request that the site plan remain as depicted as We've worked extensively with brokers, with home builders, with other people who are interested in the purchasing of this lands to set these lots as they are. Was concerned with the landlocked nature of portions of Lot 5 and Lot 10. Lot 5 on both sides of the canal do have access off of the private road and allow for that to be accessed there for those property owners. Lot 10, we do propose an access easement to be north of the canal through Lot 4, as we're already providing an easement there for pressurized irrigation. So access for the HOA would be through that area regardless. Other staff reports, a geotechnical report. It's under final review currently. We have a draft that was given to us just this afternoon, and we'll provide to staff the finalized geotechnical report on receipt. Staff comment number 2, the pathway along the Farmers Union Canal. We are requesting a waiver to this as the site constraints make this difficult to add in pathways. With the Farmers Union access road on the south of the canal, make it difficult to add a path on the north where we are trying to adhere to the limiting of impact on the 25% slope areas which exist on the north side of the canal. So that is kind of the intent to why we are working through that waiver request. Just kind of a vision of what the intent would be for some of these lots, is some of them have some 0.75 to 0.45 acreage to allow larger home sites for these styles of home. None of these are specific to what will be built, but this is the intent and the idea for this subdivision, to have larger home pad sites for these lots. Thank you for your time, and I stand for questions.
All right, questions for the applicant at this time? Anybody? Councilwoman?
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, going back to this slide right here, can you go back and explain the access to lots 5 and 10?
Sure.
Thank you.
Of course. So as we look at Lot 5 is contiguous across this canal. So the private access, this road continues up. So the property owner of Lot 5 will have access to the lower portion via the private road and then also the northern side. So they will be able to use that access to get to Lot 5. Lot 10, as you can see, does take both sides of the canal here. So the proposed way to access the northwest side of the canal is to just establish the easement to access across the base of Lot 4 into this portion here. There's a large portion of this area in this Lot 10 that exceeds the 25% slope area. So largely unusable area for that lot.
And when you say access, is that like you're gonna, like their driveway?
So there would just be an ingress egress
Yeah.
easement in that sense.
So just accessing that
Correct.
portion of
The lot. The intent for Lot 10 is that the building pad will be here on the south, down here. And so then they'll be able to use the private road and then that ingress egress easement to access the portion of their lot that is on the northwest side of the canal.
Thank you. Second question. So I am a strong advocator for pathways. And I saw like regarding your pathway waiver, I am not in support of that. So would you be willing to, like, can we have it on one side? Are you saying, are you actually asking for a complete pathway waiver along the canal?
Thank you, Councilwoman. So along the canal as it currently stands, along the south side of the canal is the Farmers Union Ditch Road that is traversing this entire length right here.
Used to be.
That's a great document.
Wow.
Yeah.
Threw me off there. So essentially with this access road already taken, the prime space for a pathway is already taken up by the Farmers Union Ditch Road.
Okay.
On the north side of the canal on Lot 5 in particular, the slopes going up to and abutting the canal are extreme.
Okay. And so we could have a pathway easement if we worked and you worked with the canal company.
Well, we don't
Irrigation.
have agreement with the farmers union,
Right.
and that's a
But
hard one to get
Say
an agreement.
20, 30, 50 years down the road, it would
I ain't
be-
thinking that far. I'll be dead.
At least if we have the easement on the property, that if, at some day down the road, if we have this Knights trail pathway to go up to up to the hills up there and walk along the canal, and we don't know what 50 years is going to bring. Just to have the option available.
So future easement along that roadway.
Yes.
She's asking, not on the north side.
Yep.
Right. So definitely be worth considering in conjunction with the farmers union. As far as their amenability to that, that's
Yeah.
to be
It's a
discussed.
different animal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any further questions?
Yes.
Yes, Jennifer?
And not right now.
No?
Thank you.
Councilman?
Yeah, I just, you expressed, building lots down in 10. I'm assuming the building lot is on 5 is above.
Building lot for 5 is below as well.
Okay, both sides are low.
Yes.
We've had issues with, people getting into the toe of that ditch and would, I guess, warn of making sure those are far enough away from the toe of that ditch to not have that whole fiasco again.
Yeah, we have been working with farmers union. Understand that their setback requirement is the 25 feet from the toe of their technically levee, as they refer to it. So the building pad 4-5 does take that into account.
And your homeowners would be aware of that with their HOA before it was somebody landscaped into that and,
Understood.
yeah.
Okay. Good question. We did have a serious issue with that. Okay, any further questions of the applicant at this time? Okay, hearing none.
Mayor Chadwick.
Okay,
So regarding the gate there, so there was the fire department responded that they have limited authority to enforce regulations on private roads and therefore hold reservation regarding their approval with the gate. And so I also am not a fan of the private gates too. So just do you have do you want to try to convince me otherwise, or?
well, I'm going to ask Victor to answer that question first. Because what is your reservation on that? So it's out.
So that has been the standard language for the last 2 years on any private road that comes through my office. Now, what we do look at is number of homes, right? And so with the lower number of homes on this, we would be okay with it with conditions that we outlined on there. So they have to make sure they follow, and it's permitted through our office with the right capabilities to get in and out of it, that they have in their CCNRs, that they have to maintain the roads clear, that they have to maintenance them regularly. And if there's any modifications in the future, that they come to the fire district and the city to get those approvals in that modification. So that's.
So would that a gate have to be set up with an Opticon or what?
Yeah, so we run 3 things. We run an some type of traffic control device. We use Firestrobe 2000. It'll have to have a Knox key, and then we'll have to have a gate code. So we run 3 things to make sure that in case one fails, the other one will work.
Okay. All right. Jennifer, do you want to keep going?
So you're all right with it as it's a small number of homes?
The small number of homes, yeah, but it's just a standard language that we chose to
Yeah,
put on
okay.
anything for private roads.
All right, you got any further questions? Councilman Wheelock has.
Yep, go for it.
Go ahead, Councilman Wheelock.
I just wanted to address the 10% slope on the road with the fire also having issues with that. Are you going to create flat spots in the road? How's that end up looking?
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Wheelock. With the engineering design of that road, we'll definitely be working hand in hand with those requirements set forth by fire to make sure that the road does meet those maximum requirements on there, and providing good locations for the actual flat parts that you're talking about, where they appropriate, providing the correct transition in slope from flat to curve as well, and in a vertical curve kind of way.
Perfect. Follow-up questions there, Councilwoman? No? Anybody? All right, thank you. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you, sir. We'll get you back up here. You have the sheets there, Sean? All right. We got, let's see, is it, oh, Audrey Hall and Dave Lowy? Lowry, sorry, my apologies. State your name and address, sir, please, for the record.
David Lowry, 5365 Rossler Drive in Eagle. So our only concern is on lot 5. We heard tonight that the building envelope will be the lower portion of lot 5. We want to know if there's going to be any restrictions on landscape in the upper portion of lot 5 that would prohibit erosion and water runoff into our property on the east side of the development.
Okay, we'll have them come back and answer that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Joseph Conte? No comment, okay. How about Ms. Sarah Hinkle?
Sarah Hinkle, it's 3711 North on Selma Way, Star, Idaho.
Okay.
Just a couple of questions that maybe they can answer via website. Who's the developer, square footage, amount of the homes, price range of the homes, et cetera?
Okay. You wrote that down? Yes, okay, very good, thank you. Let's see, Paul? Nothing further? What about Mike Washburn? Did you want to speak? No comment, okay, very good. That's all that chose to speak. Mr. Dennis, you come back up here and answer those questions from those citizens out here that had those comments there, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. With the 2 questions that came up, as far as the lot 5, we will be leaving that untouched in those areas with the extreme slope for that erosion. So it will be as native as can be.
So are you going to put that in the CCNRs that they can't do anything up there just to prevent that from eroding off?
Yeah, I mean, I think where it's the 25%, we are bound by that to not be able to do any of those improvements on that area there.
So you gotta, you can't do that, by the way, sorry. I guess I'm gonna suggest that it goes in the CCNRs, because if we're gonna, I don't care if these people won't understand when they buy it that they can't do anything on that.
Without it being in the covenants.
Without being, yeah, yep.
Mr. Mayor,
And then Sean, or,
Ryan Morgan, city engineer, we are actually requiring on the final plat to put some no slope easements or some no build slope easements on the
plat
plat,
itself?
on the plat itself.
Very good, okay. And then how about the second question there?
Yeah, as far as the prices of these, it'll be market driven. The home pads and specific to each lot will be subject to the lot size. There are some anticipated lot footprints already just based off of preliminary drawings as part of the preliminary plat.
Do you have an idea of, I mean, crystal ball, like 4,000 square foot homes, 8,000 square foot
I mean,
homes?
the building pads vary anywhere from 5,000 to 8,000 square feet for the actual pads themselves.
All right, that's a good answer there. That tells us what it is. All right, any further questions of the applicant at this time? Hearing none, thank you. It is, do you have any questions of staff? It is 8:29. I'm going to close the public hearing and go to council deliberations. Councilwoman?
Thank you. All right, so I'm not a big deliberator. This is hard for me, like the debate part, but so I am not a fan of the private gates. And let me just tell you why. I think for our community, we talk a lot about our, hometown, know your neighbors type of thing. And so to me, when we have these gated neighborhoods, it creates kind of that separation. And so I guess the only real objection that I have to this is the private gate. So anybody else feel that way, or doesn't matter to you? You're for it.
I would tell you, I am not concerned about a private gate in an area that it doesn't have access to anywhere except for within the subdivision. It's on a hillside, so
Yeah.
it's a private drive, private gate. It's going to be trespassing either way you look at it for anybody to walking up there. So the gate prevents the trespassing issue.
I understand that. Hear you.
So
But I do feel like we allow one, and then it's like, oh, another one comes in, another one. And we've seen a number of them in the last few years of these private gate requests. And every time I see one, I just feel like for our city and I just would hate to, like, I don't know. We want to know our neighbors here. And so to me, when you put up these gates, I understand, you want to have a safe, like it's a safety precaution. And, but we have excellent cops too.
well, but nothing about, I'm just going to be honest, nothing about that road is public.
It is a private road.
Down below doesn't have any right to walk on it. You have a gate that helps prevent some of that issue of people walking up into a hill. In reality on that, I get what you're saying, but there's exceptions to that rule, depending on the topography and where some properties are located, in my opinion. But it's up to you guys to decide if you want that gate or not.
Mayor Chadwick, one more
Councilwoman?
thing is, so if there is a pathway along the canal, would a gate access, would that pose any issue if there was a public, if the public is walking?
If you have a public easement on that, they're not going to access it from the road down below.
Right,
It's going to have
right.
to access it on the canal bank.
Right.
From
And
down-
so
downstream.
for like if there's a problem, like an emergency or something for somebody to get to that area and they can't get through the gate.
Well, we just said, Chief just talked about the three Opticons, Opticon, key box, and a code.
So have traffic control, which will turn on with our Opticoms automatically. We have a key that's specific for the fire department. And then we back that up with a code in case we're in a reserve and don't have the Opticom.
And in worst case, you just run it down.
Their fire truck. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not,
Yeah, no, I
you don't
hear
like
ya.
the debate, but I'm
No,
just
I
telling
know.
you my opinion.
So I just threw that out there. I'd love to hear from any of the rest of the council.
Okay, council, we want to hear from you.
Or if
Hear
you
from
don't, if you don't,
Mayor
Councilman
Chadwick.
Nielsen?
So I guess I want some clarification on the canal easement that was talked about. So we talked about the applicant not providing an easement, but there's potential to work with the canal company. So we're not doing anything with an easement tonight on this. Do I understand that correctly?
Well, I think based on what Councilman was talking about, we put it in here, the word, the granted easement in case we get a future agreement with the farmers union for access.
But and that easement would run along with the canal
the road.
company's easement, not a separate
easement, no.
not a separate
No.
portion or additional portion of property. Okay,
Right.
got it.
Mr. Mayor, on that easement question, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm trying to think through how that easement's going to be worded and recorded. Because if Farmers Union doesn't want people on their right of way, and we just say we're going to put an easement on there for a walkway, we're creating a conflict.
Well, can we say something about future public easement as granted by farmers union with the city of Star? if they're willing. I mean,
Yeah, I think there could be just a condition, but I don't think we can actually require the creation of I'm not sure we can create the easement now.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Because if we're putting an easement over the top of it, that's going to have some description, it's going to explain who the, legal users are of that easement. We're basically, potentially what we do is, it says that easement's recorded. I don't know, you can use like futuristic language in the easement itself.
I got it.
And so what's, we put the easement there and say, well, someday in the future, it's going to be able to be used for access. The farmers union say, what are you doing? Now you're giving them access as soon as you record that easement on the property. And they're the ones that may have to actually grant the easement because it's their right away.
So if it's in the condition that we.
Yeah, we can require that they work with farmers union and do a pathway and all that kind of stuff if they'll allow it, but we can't, I'm not sure that's anything we can force as a city to require to happen because we don't have the jurisdiction over that land, and the developer doesn't have jurisdiction over the land either.
Mr. Mayor and Chris, could we put a condition requiring them to provide the signed easement to the city that we can hold until we get an agreement from the farmers union
And
district?
escrow?
Because I'm concerned that once, if it happens 5 or 10 years down the road, trying to negotiate with the current owner, with the new owners of the property, if we don't have something in hand, you see what I'm asking?
Well, I do. I just don't know that. I'm just not sure how to make that work.
Yeah, I mean, how do you burden, can you burden the plat or can you burden the CCNRs with language that basically says this is agreed to and pending these conditions, then the HOA will create that easement?
I think the plat can show the farmers union easement right away, whatever they call it. That can be shown on the plat so that nobody can build in there.
Yeah.
And I think that preserves the land. I mean, I don't think there has to be future negotiation down the road with whoever the actual landowner is, because farmers union is the one that's going to have to grant it and allow it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have,
And so we can put that requirement in our conditions. I just don't know that we can actually record something on the property that says there is an easement here,
Right.
there will be an easement here
Right,
5, 10,
so
20,
if-
30, 40, 50 years from now.
So if I understand you correctly, this isn't a negotiation item with the applicant. But what we can do is burden the plat to show the easement of the canal as it is today to preserve the land. And then at some future point, this is just a conversation between the city and the canal company.
Right. Yeah. Because I don't think the applicant even necessarily has to be involved down the road because the city's historically, just over the last handful of years, has been the one negotiating these pathways. I think the other thing that we might want to put in there is a requirement that I don't know if the city is going to want to build that pathway in 30 years or 20 years or 2 years. And so we may need to kind of think through how that works too, because typically the obligation to build the pathway would be on the developer. But where we don't have control over what the ditch company wants to do or the canal company, we're kind of.
Yeah, and this is a pretty small stretch of land as well. So we
Anyway, just some thoughts there. I just want to make sure we're not doing something that's going to cause a problem. We don't want to pick a fight with farmers union by putting an easement on there and they're saying, wait a second, that's our property and we didn't grant that. So anyway, I think I understand the principle of it and I think we can get there. We just need to, I think, be careful how we're doing it.
Okay, yeah, that's good advice. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and Council, that I also believe in the past when we've had this problem, Cranefield, I think was an example. I think River Park was an example where we didn't know if we were going to get that negotiation completed with the irrigation district. The city was acknowledging that they would go in and build the pathway in the future if the easement was ever gotten.
Yep, that makes sense. So regarding the gate, I on this particular one, I don't want to negotiate real hard with you here, Jen, Councilwoman. But I'm aligned with the mayor's opinion on this matter. I think there's an exception to every rule, and in this case with a private street and up there in the hills, set up in that way, to me it makes sense to put a gate there.
Okay, any further comments?
just ones I didn't bring up during the public hearing is the road should be wider, but that's just my opinion.
A little late on that one.
I know.
Councilman Day?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I had a clarification question for lot number 5. Mr.
You can't ask the applicant now,
Not the applicant.
but we can.
About the runoff, about how they're going to address that 25%. That's a lot, right? So
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor, I don't know that you necessarily need to know how they're going to do it, but I think you can require that they do it in a way that it does not allow the run. I mean, it's state law anyway, right? They can't allow the runoff to go on the neighboring property. I don't know if the city council needs to know the specific plans tonight and how they're going to do it, but you can certainly make it a condition of approval that it's required and that they can even work with city staff to make sure that it meets the needs. And I think that would potentially is appropriate if the council's okay with it.
Ryan Morgan, the city engineer, reviews all the plats and things like that for, or the construction drawings for all that stuff on there too. So, okay. You got any motions?
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen?
I move to approve the Scenic View Subdivision Preliminary Plat, PP 2507, and Private Street Request, PR 2505, as presented, with conditions of staff as noted in the staff report, subject to the applicable provisions of the Unified Development Code and the following conditions of approval: that the private gate is approved, the sidewalk waiver is approved, that the CCNRs state clearly the slope areas are to be left native and not landscaped, and a requirement that the plat show the current canal easement to clearly indicate the non-buildable nature of that land and preserve the potential for the city of Star to negotiate with the canal company for a walkable easement in the future.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
second.
We have a motion by Councilman Nielsen, a second by Councilman Day. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Day,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Salmonson,
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. All right, we'll move on to item D, Caliber Cove subdivision. It is we'll give it a sec for people to clear out if they want real quick. All right, very good. Now we'll move on. It is 8:42. I'm going to open the public hearing for the Caliber Cove subdivision preliminary plat and private street. Ask the council if they have any ex parte contact or communication regarding this project.
No.
None.
None.
Okay, hearing none. Sean, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next public hearing you have before you is the Caliber Cove subdivision, preliminary plat and private street. The applicant is requesting approval of a preliminary plat and private street for the property located on Scenic View Drive at the north end of Wing Road. So this property is to the west of the application you just reviewed. Property being developed is 4.92 acres. The preliminary plat includes 2 residential lots and a private street. Property is currently annexed into the city and zoned R1. Proposed density will be 0.41 dwelling units per acre. All application requirements, including submittal requirements, agency transmittals, legal noticing, and site posting have all been completed per the Unified Development Code. Application has been reviewed for compliance with the UDC and the city comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan future land use designation on this property is a state rural residential. You do have a late exhibit in front of you, which is the letter from Star Fire District. Items for consideration on this application include private street width waiver, private street gravel surface waiver, open space waiver, sidewalk waiver, and block length waiver. Staff is recommending approval of this application with conditions as outlined in the staff report.
Okay, any questions of staff?
Yeah, I have one.
Councilman Wheelock.
Can you tell me why they need an open space waiver?
All subdivisions in the, are required to provide open space unless you are within the R1 zone and you can request a waiver from the council. So there's a waiver request for that in this application.
And we believe we have a 59-acre open space park right next door to it.
I couldn't imagine them covering this whole piece of property with a building, so I was curious what open space means for that.
Okay, got it. Any further questions of the staff?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
So this question is for Ryan Morgan. Can I ask it now or should I wait? I mean, is it staff?
You can ask it now.
Okay, so Ryan, you said in your report that like the first three items in your report should be, let's see, I can tell you what they are. So the legal description, let's see, a geotechnical report with a preliminary plat, and then required to include the slope areas greater than 25% on the sheet. Were those things done?
I have not received any response to my letter that was sent out. So no, they have not been completed at this point in time. So just know that as the legal description is currently written, the county will not accept that because the map and the legals do not match, and therefore they can't record it as it's currently written. So if you want to clarify that those things have to be done prior to any submittal of construction drawing, there's some gray area there, but as it currently stands, we cannot submit to the county for recording.
Okay, so the process, like you state, that prior to approval of the preliminary plat. So with us, if we approve it tonight, like, do these things should they have been taken care of before tonight, or can they work on them?
I don't have my letter in front of me. Can you tell me what date that letter is?
Sorry, January 28th.
So they've had 3 weeks, should have been able to address it, in my opinion. We have in the past put those conditions and approved things. It just kind of is a slightly backwards way to do things.
Right.
Any further questions of staff?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, the applicant can come up and state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Connor. Address is 1144 South Silverstone Way in Meridian.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Thank you all. Good to see you all tonight. Very similar project right adjacent to the project that you all just decided on. So like Sean explained, this is a preliminary plat application. It's over 4.92 acres for 2 building lots. Right now it's 1 lot. Asking for 2 lots. The total lot size for each one is about 2.45 acres. So the overall density is 0.41 units per acre. There's also a private street, and there's some detail on waivers we're asking for to that, which we'll dive into. It'll be placed with an existing easement. This property does not have direct frontage to public right-of-way. There's an existing easement there. So while we're asking for the road width to be 20 feet wide, we would have agreed to pave, according to ACHD recommendations, the first 30 feet of that private driveway. And then after that, it'll be a gravel road. We do not plan to have a landscape plan or sidewalks, as the site, as alluded to earlier by the mayor, is less than 1 unit per acre. There is a public pathway that we will build to that park that is to our west, that was alluded to earlier. So that will go in as part of this application. We're also requesting a block length waiver, and we'll comply with the fire department's request for a turnaround there. So I'll get in deeper on the project. So vicinity map, it's just north of West Scenic View Lane. Go to the next one. It is, like I alluded to, does not have direct access to public right of way. It's a little bit of an island there. And you go to the next one. It doesn't seem to be centered. I don't know if you can, there you go. You can see the roadway, the existing gravel roadway that comes up from the south there. It is currently zoned in the city as R1. The kind of dark line that you see is the gravel pathway, or sorry, gravel road there. And then we'll zoom in a little bit further on the sidewalk along that connects the existing parking to the park. So that's okay. It's okay. It's like I said earlier, there's just one lot right now. The owner is wanting to split off part of his property for a family member. So it's just 2 lots that we're adding here with the density of 0.41 units per acre. The next one. So this exhibit shows a little bit clearer the 10-foot pathway that we've agreed to build to the park property. Folks will park in that kind of turnaround area. It looks like an old cul-de-sac right there. Yep. And then utilize the pathway there to get to the park that goes across the Farmers Union ditch there. And then also shows in red the area that would be paved per ACHD policy. So the big things to consider tonight are these 5 items. So the private street width waiver, by code, I believe it needs to be 28 feet. We're requesting just 20 feet of roadway width there, given that this private drive will only serve for residences. The open space waiver, as we said earlier, this is a very small, very low density subdivision. So we're asking for waiver there. The sidewalk waiver, again, there we're providing the sidewalk to the parkland there, but with it being just serving 2 new lots, we're asking for a waiver on the sidewalk. And then the Blanc Lake waiver for the fire department, and we'll provide a fire turnaround road there. And again, like the previous application, there'll be a note on the final plat that says areas with a greater than 25% slope will be noted as non-build areas. And given the size of these lots, there's plenty of space there to build a house without that being an issue. And also, just to comment on the engineering report, we just need to be able to, a little time to fix that legal discrepancy. It was 1 letter that was off. And then the geotech report, we can get that to Ryan this week. We didn't receive all the staff reports properly on time, and that was probably just an issue of email or contacts. So we can get all that necessary things to the engineering department there. Also, we've been working with the fire district on their requirements, and we're in compliance with all their conditions of approval there, including water redundancy for the homes to ensure that they'll be extra safe in case of fire, so they'll be sprinklered. And with that, I stand for any questions you all may have.
Just real quick, a question. Can you go back to the slide? Is Sean doing it? Sean? On the slide that shows the pathway to the park, please. So the intent then is that's the old driveway? Is that what that is that we're using?
So that right there is still paved. It's owned, I believe, by the county. I'll have to check the ownership, but that will be kind of like a parking area there. And then folks can use the pathway to go up.
Oh,
the
I
hill.
see. I'm sorry. I saw that. So our pathway is going to be attached to your new bridge.
Correct.
That's what
Yes.
you're doing. Okay. So that pathway is going in, and then you're building all this out for us to there.
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay,
and
and
the
then-
park starts on this side of the property line.
So when we got that subdivision donate and that agreement, we got $60,000 for that bridge. You have an agreement with staff about utilizing that 60,000 to help with that pathway?
We'll have to dive into that. I wasn't personally aware of that, but that would definitely help fund the pathway.
Okay, I'm going to just tell you, this Trident Ridge subdivision, we made them give us 60,000 because we were going to be building that bridge with that money at some point. but having it attached to your bridge helps alleviate the issue of working with the farmers union. So that's something that we'll work with you guys on helping with that pathway.
Thank you. Yeah, I know we've had multiple conversations. I mean, we've looked at, doing this pathway in multiple ways. We've thought about running it here. There's a few more things as we get into more of the design phase of this project. This is just the preliminary plat entitlement piece of it. As we get into the design phase, we can look at that crossing there because the culvert will likely need to be upsized.
Right. And so I want one more question. So with this being attached, how is that separated from the road?
I don't think we have that detail right now, but it's something we can show.
So if there is not a separation, even use some of that money to put a rail in there to separate it from the traffic. I mean, I know it's only 3 places coming down off of that, but I don't want to see any pedestrian involvement on accident at any time right there by utilizing the same place. But if you can throw like a rail along that right there.
That definitely makes sense. That's something we can look into during
Yep.
the final design and final plating.
All right. Thank you. All right. Councilwoman?
Mayor Chadwick.
Yep.
So is the road width the same the entire length or is it different at the pathway?
So the gravel road width is we're proposing 20 feet. Where the pathway is adjacent to it, it would have the
Additional 10?
additional 10 of pavement there.
Okay.
So this illustrates it right here, Councilwoman. So here's the 10-foot sidewalk and the 20-foot driving surface on the bridge. This is the bridge structure right here.
And this is where I'm talking that if it's attached like that, we need to put a rail in there to prevent any issues.
They've got a proposed rail on the west side of the bridge to protect the pedestrians from the canal.
You're leaving the bridge concrete? Or are you covering that in gravel also? What's that look like as a surface?
I want to say it was concrete.
Well, it's a concrete.
Concrete.
It's a
Yeah, it's concrete
bridge.
structure.
But are they going to put gravel on it to match all the rest of the service?
I believe it's going to be concrete.
Yeah. Okay.
Would you be willing to concrete or an apron both directions? 5, 10 feet, whatever that looks like, to eliminate erosion on the edges of that bridge.
Yeah, that's something councilman will look at that as far as what's going to be best for the maintenance of that bridge. I don't think it's shown here how far that concrete goes.
Well, this approach right here shows it approaches a 20-foot slab, right? Coming into that.
Yeah.
You just need to do something similar on the other side. Is all on there.
Okay. Yeah, again, we can look at that. We can work with engineering on making sure that's built for warranty.
Okay.
Mayor
Councilwoman?
Chadwick,
Yep.
yeah. So can we ask the question of Victor? still?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right,
Victor.
Victor, so thank you for your response, your letter. Do you have any issue with the 20-foot width?
Sean and I were just talking about that. I'm going to look at this specifically for the 2 lots that we have, right? So we're creating a low volume. The developer is going to, because he does not have water up there, they're going to have to sprinkle the structures for an alternative water supply. So, as far as that goes, the kind of checking some boxes off in my head. A 20-foot road is our minimum, right? That is our minimum. With the understanding that in the future, if at any point anybody along that road comes in to do lot splits, to add additional ADUs, anything like that, that road's going to have to get widened. Because right now I'm looking at it 2 houses only that are being added. So if any of those property owners come back in the future and want to add an ADU, I'm going to have them increase that road. So the developer has to think about if in the future they want to add additional stuff, do they widen that road a little bit more? I'm okay with 2 homes.
Was there some areas that were steep?
Yeah, so both of
Too,
these,
for
both of these projects, you know, with, along with a neighbor, they're very unique, the way that they have to cut through. And they've been, since day one that we met with them, we've been talking about how to cut that down to the minimum that we can, knowing that we do have some topography that we're going to have to work around. So they have been we've communicated about that multiple times.
All right, so, so you're okay with, because it's the two lots and.
And they're sprinkling, you said.
Correct. But again, with the caveat that if
In
they
the
come back in the future with wanting to do an ADU on that, with wanting to split the lot, that they're going to have to make road improvements. That goes up and down. It's going to be anybody who has access to that road.
Got it. All right, thank you.
All right. Any further questions for the applicant at this time? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. Do you have a sign-in sheet, Sean, please? All right. Mr. Cash, except you got to state your real name though when you're up here.
John Pickens, 10200 West Scenic View Lane, Star, Idaho. Mr. Mayor, City Council members, thank you for hearing us tonight. So I'm the landowner that this easement goes through. And I was told that this current picture is the old outdated one, that the new one just follows the driveway straight up. They're going to be taking out the current bridge and replacing it. And it was to be paved all the way up. That's what the developer told me last week. Developer / owner. I did have a few questions that weren't addressed. Are the city being that they're going to tack on their 10-foot section pedestrian walk there. My question to y'all is, how do we get the people from hanging out in my front yard? We have numerous folks that apparently don't read no trespassing signs and walk the ditch. And I can only imagine that, they're going to say, oh, let's just drive up there. Why? Let's just drive all the way up. And I got people turning around in front of my house. So is there going to be some type of fencing from the city's property of 58 acres to, once you guys have your walkway over the bridge there, and to divert them into y'all's park instead of continuing walking up the
Are you
street?
asking down here, Cash, right down here?
Yes, sir.
Not the whole length,
That's correct.
right? Just right here.
It's currently a barbed wire fence.
Along
And
there, yeah.
our animals
So
generally
we'll-
respect it.
We'll work with you, Cash, on figuring that out, on how we can put a little fence or whatever to direct them that way with some signage.
Right. And of course, with this older version here, maybe they can address that.
The what?
That this older version of this map. So I was told that it would go right up here. This gets into my lower farming area right here and becomes a financial burden for that driveway to come way over here when the current road has been here for,
John, can you address that, please?
You're going to need the applicant to address that. This is the location that I'm aware of for the road.
Okay. Well, have the applicant address that.
okay. The only other issue I had that it wasn't specified is who's going to maintain this private driveway. So this is my house here, and we are probably going to be splitting off this lower 2 acres here. And so just wanted them to address that maintenance and the watering of, and all that's involved with having, this hillside here, this is why this dips so low is because this is pretty steep. Now, I understood that we're just going to cut this down, but when you cut that down, you're going to have a valley, you know, and it'll probably be in the excess of 20 foot to 30 foot depth that they're going to have to dig that out. So who gets to water that erosion? That's just some of my thoughts, but
We'll have the applicant address that when they come.
thank you
up here.
kindly.
Yep. Thank you. All right, the applicant
Yeah.
come back up.
Mayor Chadwick.
Sorry,
Sorry.
Councilwoman, sorry,
So-
Cash.
So on this here, it says, you know, that there's an existing easement, that the road is shown as an existing easement. So this is on your property? And is this easement then there?
It is an easement. They have an easement that goes up basically the side of the.
His question is this
Right.
part right here.
Now, an interesting note is in 1908, there was an easement that ACHD has that was turned over. In 1908, it's 25 foot on my side and 25 feet on your all side. And ACHD retains that right away for a future road or whatever they have going on. Obviously, it's not improved or anything. They don't maintenance it or anything.
So have you granted this roadway on your property?
No, that's what he's saying. He's not granted this down here.
Huh?
Is what he's indicating.
Right.
We'll have to Talk about that.
Okay.
Right, but
And the-
prior to me owning it, Councilwoman, that easement was granted prior to me buying
Okay.
this here, knowing that it would come up, just follow this driveway up there. We knew they were going to have to replace this bridge, and you guys were going to piggyback onto that to get over to access this park here.
And then continuing up to their property,
Yes,
like that curve there is fine.
it's always best to move it as far away from our house as possible. My concern is later on, let's just say ACHD goes, you know what? And I think a couple.
John?
Oh,
Sorry.
that Willowbrook a couple years ago was denied. They wanted to punch through here, and the board so nicely said no, thank you.
So Willowbrook at the time was going to come up this,
Yes, sir.
to here, right? That's
sir.
no longer because we said we're not having a public road.
Right.
Go up that hill right there.
Okay, so that dashed area, does that show what the easement is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Cash? I'm not done either. Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Councilman. We lost-
You're saying they told you it was going to be a paved road all the way up, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. We'll have them address that.
Now you can come up, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Just to clarify, when we're talking about an old design and current design, so what you see in front of you is what we submitted to the city. In the past 2 or 3 months, we've been working with ACHD and Fire and the owner on how we get up that initial hill and across the ditch. And so we do have a concept, a drawing that does move that street over to where you see the sidewalk coming north and south, adjacent to that. Yes, so it runs, yeah, I can.
At the existing entrance? Okay.
And the reason why we had it do this meandering here is there was a lot of concern from Fire about the slope of it. It went over 10%. Working with Fire, they're fine with the slope that's here, as long as it's flat enough where there would be landing if they're to serve an issue over here. And so it's a lot more, it's cleaner. Obviously, the owner of this property, you know, that it's not ideal for him to give up additional property that he uses. And so it works better right here. This is just what we submitted. And again, the application is for the preliminary plat of here. And then We understand this is critical, obviously. It's for access, it's for the sidewalk, it's everything there, but we're continuing to work with the agencies to make sure that we get the best thing to work in this location. And I understand potentially you're now having more chances for conflict for the pathway adjacent to the gravel road there. So we can continue to talk about sufficient fencing, clear signage to deter anyone going on the property south of us. As far as the additional road, potential work that'll need to be get done here, he was talking about some elevation changes around there. We can address that. The property owner, who I am not, we're just the applicant, the consultant. We can work with our neighbor to the south to make sure it's built, wisely, and so it's not a big issue. And a big piece of this, like we've been saying most of this time, is there is a lot of topography around here, and a big piece of it is going to be working with the grading to make sure we don't create a bigger problem for us. Because at the end of the day, the owner of the property and family is going to be living here. They don't want to create an issue for their continued access on this easement. So it's in their best interest to make sure that works in the long term.
So you'll shift it over as far as you can to the west.
We can, I don't know if I can commit to that, but it's something that they can definitely look into.
I mean, I'm-
right now, the existing easement is along the alignment of this roadway right now.
Okay.
So shifting it further west, that's another.
Oh, that's okay, got it. All right.
Yeah, where you see it here, that's where the existing easement is.
Okay. Well, the bottom part, we're going to say we're moving that back over to here.
Right. So the concept that you're not seeing right now is showing the alignment on the kind of where the existing path is, existing access is here.
Okay. Very good. Any questions of the applicant?
Did you talk about the paving?
Yeah, talk about the
There we
paving.
go. That was news to me 5 minutes ago. I haven't heard that. If that's something that, again, our client and this owner spoke about paving, that's another conversation. That's not how we portrayed this application or that we've been communicated with so far. So we were told the whole time that it's going to be, we're asking for a gravel. And then the only thing that we're agreeing to with ACHD is the southern 30 feet to be paved. Just so you don't have track out of mud, and for maintenance, it can be messy if you have, it gives you a little bit of distance there to have the connection between the gravel and the paved part of the street. And also it's in the in Sean's staff report as a condition of approval that the owner has to submit a private street maintenance plan, since this is a gravel street. That includes future funding to, I think it's every 3 years, monitor the status of the road and then address any issues, whether it's slope issues or potholes, or if it needs to be regraded. So that's part of the conditions that we're agreeing to tonight, is that funding private street maintenance plan is approved by the city, and it's part of the CCNRs of these two lots.
Okay. Councilwoman?
All right. I believe in the staff report also it talked about a street light being installed. Do you see any issue with that?
I don't see an issue with that, no.
Down, it's obviously down here, right, Sean, at the bottom?
I was under the impression there was one there at that corner.
Mr. Mayor, there is one sitting already on that corner.
Oh, there.
So it would light up
Okay.
that intersection.
Okay. Cash, you want one right there? No, I'm kidding.
That.
All right, any further questions? So this is the accurate one then, is what you're saying right here.
Yes, that's the current version that we've been working with fire most recently the past couple of weeks.
Okay. All right, any further questions of the applicant at this time? Well, this is your only time to ask him questions. Okay, Councilman Wheelock, talk, microphone though.
I'm curious what the distance is from, say, 20 feet past the canal all the way to the asphalt.
You're talking from up here down?
From up here above what we had described as an apron of concrete past the bridge. I would recommend, if we end up saying gravel, that from that 20 foot past the bridge all the way to the asphalt road should be some kind of a solid surface.
Okay. Did you say ACHD is requiring this paved anyway?
ACHD is requiring the first 30 feet, which probably gets you pretty darn close. I
Right,
don't
We got
have
20
the-
foot off each side, so.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
wouldn't be
The
surprised
10
if that's
piece
the
that
plan.
Needs to be managed somehow.
So the recommendation is going to be to pave it from there down to there.
Understood.
That's your recommendation, okay?
Mr. Mayor, this staff did have a concern about paving the entirety of the road, and especially when you get up to these cut areas, because the erosion is going to be a lot worse off pavement than it is off gravel. I did talk to Mr. Pickens about the road in front of his house to see if he had concerns about dust or what his concerns were. Because again, if it's paved through his property, likelihood of speeding is going to be a lot more with pavement over gravel. I would recommend though, to help him with dust control, that we put a condition that dustless surface treatment would be placed in front of Mr. Pickens' property to control the dust.
Okay. Any concerns with that? Dustless surface? No?
Can you clarify what dustless surface means?
It can be
No dust.
from oil to there's molasses based product that they put on service roads and
Yeah.
forests, things like that. Nothing too crazy. But it would just provide some dust mitigation for the.
Should.
Any further questions of the applicant or staff at this? Okay, hearing none, thank you. It is 9:17. We're going to close the public hearing and go to council deliberations. Councilman Nielsen.
Mayor Chadwick, thank you. So I've noted a number of conditions that we've discussed here tonight. The staff report includes the private street waiver, block length waiver, sidewalk waiver for private street. We noted tonight that the applicants agreed to provide a 10-foot paved path from West Scenic Lane to the adjacent park property. We talked about a dustless surface treatment along the road through the Pickens property. A steep slope, no build easements on the final plat. Open space waiver. Applicant will fix the property's legal description before the plat's recorded. We've talked about the bridge will have a concrete surface and be engineered with an appropriate concrete apron on both sides to protect the bridge, and that that 30 feet of concrete that the applicant talked about will just extend all the way through to the other side of the bridge. Also, we've talked about them working with the city to utilize the funds held in reserve for building the bridge.
And then the fence, the separation between did you have that in there? Between the pathway and the road on the bridge?
Yep, thank you for that. We didn't
Might
call it a
be.
fence, we called it a rail. So a rail installed on the bridge.
Yeah, for separation. And I believe he did say that he would work with us on the fencing, go all the way into the property to kind of eliminate folks from walking that direction.
So we're working with the city on fencing along common property.
Yep.
And to provide the fencing, or what are we doing with fencing there? I don't recall that.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
I believe it was in the plan already that there's some sort of, are you talking about the Pedestrian path?
Yeah, just on the pedestrian.
Yeah, there's like a rail to separate the road.
Oh, to
Pathway.
kind of encourage people.
It roll this way, yeah, so, yeah, yep.
So encouraging park patrons away from private property. Does that sound right?
Got it.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, any further comments?
Did I miss anything?
No,
Mr.
you
Mayor,
were very
Council-
thorough.
Council, what did you say regarding the paving from Scenic to the bridge? Did you want that paved
Yeah, 20 feet above the bridge, all the way down to the asphalt, on the
on
main
Scenic?
road.
And then I would recommend that you place the same condition on this that you did on the last application as regarding the easement for the pathway or future easement.
Yeah.
Well, we can't because they don't own this.
True.
Sean.
Oh, you're right. Yes, you're
It's cash.
correct. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so
And we're getting our easement right here going across to that.
We can work with cash on that later.
So are we declaring that the concrete apron on the other side of the bridge is to be 20 feet? Because what I remembered is an appropriate apron. And so we're determining what that is right now?
Yeah, Councilman Wheelock wants it 20 feet on the other side of the bridge and then all the way down to the road.
They've engineered it 20 on this side, on the low side. I'd like the appropriate equal on the other side.
Okay, and 20 feet's an engineering standard you're aware of,
That's the
or?
one they designed.
He's just going off of
I'm
what
just,
what they.
I'm matching
what they
their
provide.
design, both sides of the bridge.
Got it. So it sounds like they were going to pave 30 feet and we're going to require probably another 30 feet. Is that about right?
Well, so we're going to require, I don't know how far, I don't know what the scale is on this. So we're saying 20 feet from here all the way down to the road. I mean, they were only going to do 30 feet from here to here and then the 20 feet below this. So there would have been probably a gap. All we're saying is from the asphalt road to 20 feet above the bridge needs to be paved.
Hard surface, not necessarily paved or concrete.
Oh, hard surface.
Paved or concrete is not, doesn't, just so that it's not a gravel in between those two pieces, the 30-foot off the road and the bridge that is going to be concrete.
Okay. So concrete bridge, but hard surface apron.
Hard surface to 20 feet past the bridge, 20 feet north of the bridge.
And then, Mr. Mayor, we should also establish a public easement across the bridge for the pedestrian
Yeah.
pathway, since that's on private property.
Across the bridge. On the pedestrian pathway. We good?
All right, so what I've written here is the bridge will have a concrete surface and be engineered with an appropriate hard surface apron to 20 feet north of bridge and on both sides to protect the bridge.
All the way down to the road. So the hard
What-
surface, sorry, the hard surface goes from the top all the way to the road. Doesn't matter the south side for the apron. It's just if everything is hard, all the way down the road, we're good.
And are we saying to West Scenic View Lane,
Yes.
south to West Scenic View Lane? Okay,
All right.
Mr.
Any
Mayor,
further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
just so we're all clear, from 20 feet north of the bridge, all the way down to Scenic View, that's just over 200 feet.
Okay.
yeah, so we're not saying concrete 200 feet. We're saying the 30-foot concrete, the bridge is concrete, and then the rest is hard surface. Okay.
All right. Any further discussion?
So I haven't made the motion. We've just talked about conditions. Okay.
Thank you for that list. That's perfect.
All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Okay. Based on the record, I find the proposed preliminary plat complies with the comprehensive plan and unified development code. The density is well below the maximum allowed in the state urban residential designation and appropriate for the hillside site. Services are available, and with the approved waivers and conditions, the development will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare. Therefore, the required findings can be made. I move to approve file number PP 25-05 and PR 25-06, subject to staff conditions and the ones that Councilman Nielsen listed here tonight, and approve, all the requested waivers, and direct staff to prepare findings consistent with this motion.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Do you want him to list the conditions again right now? You need to add one
You
more?
need to add one more?
Point of clarification, I'm having a tough time today. Point of clarification, did you want to also add the fire district's condition about the widening the road if
Any
additional, if future development occurs?
I'm not sure that's a condition we need to put on there. Sounds like a condition that
Yeah, when he,
fire
for a
will.
building permit or whatever.
Okay,
he would
we'll
have to
we'll just
tell-
make, require all requirements of the fire district.
Yeah,
Meet all the requirements of the fire district.
applicants on notice.
All right, so my motion stands.
Did you need, Sean, did you need Kevin to read up because you got them all before?
I've got them typed. I'll email them to you.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Solomon, a second by Councilman Nielsen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Day,
Aye.
Wheelock,
Aye.
Solomon,
Aye.
Nielsen.
I
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you. Hey, I hate to do this to you guys. We're gonna take a 5-minute recess here before we continue for facilities. It is 9:26. We'll come back here about 9:31. Sorry. Okay. It's 9:33. I'm gonna come back to the city council meeting. Move on to item 6E for Forge Fitness conditional use permit. I'm going to ask, it's 9:33. I'm going to open the public hearing and ask the city council if they have any ex parte contact or communication regarding this.
none.
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 Hearing none. Sean, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Your last public hearing is Forge Fitness conditional use permit. The applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit for a health and fitness club. Property is located at 220 South Herons Flight Lane, Suite 104. The unit size for Suite 104 is about 2,500 square feet. Zoning designation for the property is mixed use. This is within the Falcon Storage project off of Moon Valley. All application requirements, including submittal requirements, agency transmittals, legal noticing, and site posting have been completed for the UDC. Compliance with the Unified Development Code and the City Comprehensive Plan have also been reviewed by staff for compliance. Comprehensive Plan future land use map is mixed use in this area. You do not have any late exhibits. There are no special considerations. Staff is recommending approval of the application with the conditions outlined in the staff report. Again, this is the location of the unit, of the condo unit off of Heron's Flight, which is south of State Street and east of Highway 16. This is the site plan, again, showing the unit. I think this might be Diane. And that's just a picture of the building that's already built there.
Already existing, right?
It's already existing. So this is just a conditional use permit for the type of use in the mixed use zoning district. Staff has reviewed this for parking. They'll come in and do a separate sign application with staff, and it's a pretty straightforward application.
Okay. Any questions of staff at this time? All right, we'll have the applicant come up there, sir, and state your name and address.
My name is David Vargas. Address is 2036 North Finsbury Way here in Star.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Mayor Chadwick and council members, ma'am, I appreciate your time. I truly do.
Oh, Sean, did you want to give him his presentation? Sorry. This is only our 5th public hearing.
I'll just, I'll briefly give you kind of a background. I spent the last 20 years in as a public servant, and the reason I stand before you today is because the Lord called me here to serve. Forge Fitness is a faith-based men's private gym, and it's going to be a 24/7 accessible gym. It's all brand new equipment. It's to help men establish, reestablish, or strengthen their faith. And through that, we will also be supporting and strengthening their fitness. We've taken some various things into consideration. Obviously, traffic impact's the biggest thing with that community. And so with the 24/7 access and then the small capped membership, those numbers haven't quite been figured out yet because it'll all be based on our metrics. And as the membership flow ebbs and flows, we'll determine where that membership is capped, just to alleviate any impact to the community and within the commercial complex. I'm going to read the ethos to us because this means a lot to me. At Forge Fitness, we believe that strength begins in the spirit before it's built in the body. Our mission is to cultivate men who pursue faith, discipline, and brotherhood. Men who are forged through the fire, not comfort. We train not just for muscle, but for ministry. Each rep, each challenge, each moment of perseverance is a reflection of our calling to be warriors of Christ, steadfast in body, mind, and heart. We reject complacency and isolation. We rise together, holding one another accountable to a higher standard, to live with honor, humility, and purpose. This is more than just a gym. It's a brotherhood of believers committed to becoming stronger for God, our families, and our community. We forge men of faith because iron alone is strong, but together we are unbreakable in Christ. We've lived here for 3 years, and it's my time to start giving back to this community. My family's here with me. They mean the world to me, and I haven't done my part as a member of this community to start building stronger families, and that starts with the man of the household. I'm going to go into something that the Lord just put on my wife and I's heart a few weeks ago, and it's an honor to publicly let you guys know for the first time that we are also starting a 501c3 called the Forge Fitness Foundation. I'll go over a little bit of the foundation too, but these are some of the logistics that Sean discussed previously. And here's renderings of our of the front of our building. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way. The renderings of our building. Once again, it'll be 24/7 access. The lighting will meet the codes and be specific to dusk till dawn. And it'll be a low voltage lighting, so it won't. And I'll be submitting the signage and all of those requirements here in the near future. There's scripture on there. There's going to be scripture on every wall in this building. There currently is, and there will be. These are just some renderings that I did, but there will be faith-based work in the gym daily. There's a worship area, which will be here, where men will partake in Bible study, fellowship and worship, prayer walls. Everything's rooted in faith here. Now to the Forge Fitness Foundation, which is something that is near and dear to my heart. 501c3, and this is going to give an opportunity for youth scholarships to young men we're going to start here locally in the community from ages 13 to 17. And these are young men that don't have a positive role model in their home, or just might be misguided. And what this scholarship opportunity will provide is it'll remove a financial barrier, and it'll allow for a 1-year scholarship to Forge Fitness. But it's not just about the fitness aspect. Yes, that will be the foundation in which discipline will be forged, but the main thing is the leadership and the mentoring that they'll receive not only from myself, but guidance and faith-based education from the other stronger positive role models in the gym. Upon successful completion of the one-year program, then they will be afforded the ability to apply for future education, whether that is trade school or formal education. That'll all be provided through the Forge Fitness Foundation. If I could just read some scripture here in closing from Titus 2, 6, and 7. In the same way, encourage the young men to live wisely, and yourself must be an example to them by doing good works of every kind. Let everything you do reflect the integrity and seriousness of your teaching. And that's all I have, and I appreciate your time.
Awesome. Any questions for Mr. Vargas?
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman?
Thank you. So you mentioned like you don't have your membership like yet or an idea of what, but do you have an idea of how many people at the max or like at a peak time, how many people would be attending your gym?
So that we're still working through the details of that. I imagine the influx will probably be before business hours and after business hours is what, and then that will be based around the fellowship and worship and Bible studies that will be pre-scheduled. So I imagine, you know, a handful of men will be gathering at various times before 8 o'clock. Obviously, it'll be open to men of all ages. So then ones that maybe don't have a job or, you know, have a more flexible schedule will be coming mid to late mornings. And the 24/7 access allows us to schedule things throughout the day, which will lessen the impact. It's not a commercial gym by any means.
Okay.
It's the furthest thing from a commercial gym. Some people have already called it church, and some people have called it a gym, but it's going to be capped at a low amount. I don't know what that looks like right now because I don't want to turn men away that are interested, but at some point we're going to have to cap it. If it's 50, I don't know what that looks like. I don't foresee more than 8 to 10 guys in there at one time.
At one time,
If that
okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, and the reason I ask was because of the parking spots. So
Yes,
I
ma'am.
believe that there's 10 that you'll have. And so I know there's a lot of open, you know, there's some open spots still there, but as that development, as it fills in with other businesses, there may not be empty spots. So just want to make sure that you're not going to have 100, you know, men in there working out at all times with a whole bunch of cars and they're spilling out everywhere.
Yes, ma'am, and I understand that, and I've taken that. I treat that very serious, just because not only do we not have the space available within the gym, but I don't think we wouldn't serve the community, and that's what we're trying to do if we have a huge impact to the community and within that facility. And I want it to be small and intimate.
Personal.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any further questions for Mr. Vargas? You have one,
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Day?
Hey, well, thank you for doing this. I think we need more gyms like that. And so maybe you could go on since you're going to keep it intimate, right? Maybe have like a scheduling where you know exactly what time you have to be at the gym, right? Your hours are from 1 to 2. And there's a group of 8, however many you can accommodate. I don't know how you're going to do it. That's hard, right? Because everybody has nobody likes to be on a schedule when it comes to working out, right? I mean, some people do, but you don't want to make it like a job, right? Where you got to be there or you lose your spot type of thing.
Yes, to your point, the goal would be to have a set amount of spots where we're currently I work full-time at another place of employment. And the goal is to transition away from that, where I can be committed fully here, where I can facilitate spots throughout the day where, yes, these are when we're going to have the self-guided, and these are when we're going to have the more intimate personal. And so it gives a little bit of flexibility, but at the same time, we have a set time, so we're not just allowing a free for all.
Right. And then one more, what's the criteria to obtain a gym membership?
So the criteria is that you're a man and that you're willing to commit to strengthening or finding your faith, and that you're going to be respectful and accountable and hold yourself to a higher standard. And what that will entail, if I can expand on that a little bit more, it's not just about a membership and it's not just about a number. I'll be having one-on-one conversations with everybody who is interested in joining the gym, and I want to get to know them. I want to know what they're about, what their weaknesses are, where they're struggling, their family, and so that way we can build upon their weaknesses and really hone in on their strengths.
Right.
Any further questions? All right, very cool. Do we have anybody on the sign-up sheet? Zero? All right. Did you want to close it out, sir, before we?
Yeah, I would. Star means a lot to me. It truly does. My kids are the Lord. I worked in law enforcement for over 20 years, and I got medically retired and thought I lost my identity. And I realized that even though I was serving a community out in California, a lot of the activity that I did and the opportunities that were presented to me in law enforcement were very self-serving. I like to chase bad guys, and I was on a tactical team, and it was all very ego and pride driven. Even though I was taking the worst off the streets, it was all about how many guys we could put in jail, how many guns we could take off the street, and how much dope we could seize. And it wasn't until the Lord blessed me with finding my true calling, and that was serving Him, and then serving my family, and then now serving this community.
Awesome. All right. Any further questions for Mr. Vargas? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Move on to deliberate. It is 9:48. We're going to close the public hearing and move on to deliberations.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilman Nielsen.
So, I want to point out something about this property that we're talking about where you want to put your gym. Back in 2023, the council, contrary to popular opinion, the council denied an application to allow for the building of 156 townhomes on this property. And I'm grateful that we did that so that you could be here tonight. Sounds like an awesome thing that you're doing. So strengthen our community and our families is important. So I appreciate that. And I'm very supportive of the application.
Okay. Do you want to make a motion, or somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you should, Steve.
Your turn. I don't have it in front of me.
He's learning still. That's okay.
All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion, Mayor Chadwick, that we approve this application for Forge Fitness conditional use permit, CU 2505. I find that this is consistent with our comprehensive plan and the envisioned use of this particular property. And welcome Forge Fitness, Dave Vargas, you and your family to the city of Star.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilman Day. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, roll call.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
Day.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries. Welcome. Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Awesome. Well, now we're on the item. We're not leaving yet. Okay, all right. We got to still do. Well, 7A, the ordinance is actually being removed tonight. We're going to do that ordinance at our next council meeting night, just so you're aware. I do need a motion to go into executive session to consider interest in real property not owned by a public agency.
Mayor Chadwick.
Councilwoman.
Move to go into executive session, Idaho Code 74-2061C, to consider interest in real property not owned by a public agency.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second by Councilman Day. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Day.
Aye.
Wheelock.
Aye.
Salmonson.
Aye.
Nielsen.
Aye.
All right, it is 9:50 and we are heading into executive session. This is where we uninvite everybody at this point to go out into the halls. When we come back, there may or may not be a decision made. Just so everybody's aware, and then we're going to adjourn. Thank you.